And it was January 2018, and it was myself and my wife, Gillian, were sitting in the consultant's room of the maternity hospital in Rotunda Hospital. And it was there that the consultant began explaining to us what the facts were and what was going to happen, and shared with us the news, and was saying different terms like deformities and syndromes and the life expectancy. If even this child was to be born, it will not be a very long life. And even if it was to be born, it will be a very low standard of living. And this was the words that were be spoken, and our heart was breaking, as you can only imagine. For some of you, you've heard those words, or you've heard them in a certain way. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I think it was the only time that I've ever done this. And deep in my heart, I prayed to God and I said, I will do anything. I will give anything. I will go anywhere. I will give you all that I have, all my money, all my energy, all my passion, if you do this one thing. You ever pleaded with God that way? You ever tried to barter with God? I'll trade you this. And that's where I was in my heart and praying. And I remember the consultant left us for a little while. And this is right before even the services that are available today. But she was trying to get us to decide to end the pregnancy. And she left us. And myself and Gillian, at that time, this question began to form within me and within us. And it was this: do I believe in miracles? Like, it's easy to say it, isn't it? It's easy to say, have faith, be strong, be courageous, trust in the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. That's easy to say. Anyone can say that. But do I believe in miracles? And we made that decision together. We said, let's believe for a miracle. That was the hardest decision to make. We did not have any confidence, any courage, but just a morsel of belief. Just an ounce of faith. And that's all you need. And this is the other part that for us that we experienced was we chose not just to believe for one another, but we contacted that day dozens of people. And we said, this is the facts. This is what the report is. This is what's happened. Will you believe with us? Will you pray with us? Will you intercess with us? Will you stand with us and have faith with us? You know how scary that is? And I want to challenge you and encourage you. What have you been believing in that you've been keeping quiet? And you've been keeping it quiet because you think that I can confine the damage. I can confine the disappointment. If I don't tell people, well, maybe when it doesn't happen, then it won't hurt so bad. And here's the power. The power is not in us, the theology that goes, if you speak it loud enough, speak it more enough, then it will happen. That's not what I'm saying. But if you speak it and share it with others, they'll stand with you. And they'll keep you accountable when you begin to fall into doubt. They begin to hold arms with you, because that's what the church is. That's what community is. That's what unity is. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there he is. If one falls down, the other is to pick them up. One may take flight 1,000, but 2 can take flight 10,000. What's that? It's the power of unity. It's coming together, saying, I'll be with you and you be with me. I'll have your back, you have my back. Let's believe together. God can do this. He can make this happen. And that every single week, in 20 weeks, to the day he was born, every single week, and I love to exaggerate and preach, but I'm not exaggerating. It was every single week, it was the same report. This is the facts, this is black and white, and this is what's going to happen. And we need to continue every week, believe. We're still going to believe. But what happens if we'll cross that bridge when it comes? Right up until the day, it was 25th of April, just last week, 2018. He just turned 5 last week, and he was born, and he was perfect. He was perfect. He wrecks our head half the time, but he's still perfect. That's a joke. And I want to say that we've had to continue to release surgeries, operations, sicknesses, all different stuff going on, but had to continue to release. But here's the other thing. Because I've sat with and counseled and been with so many parents who lost kids, so many parents with deformities, with mental health problems and all these things, we made the decision we will love him whatever happens, whatever the condition. Friends of mine recently, they had their son for 20 hours, but it was 20 special hours. And we made the decision, we will love him no matter what. And I believe, honestly, if the miracle that we thought was going to happen didn't happen, we'd still believe for a miracle. Still believe for a miracle. Maybe he would live that way for a short time or in a certain standard, but we still believe for a miracle. I want to encourage you. I know there's so many here right now. You've either had that moment in a different capacity, context, a different way that it happened. I want to encourage you. Maybe you haven't seen it, the miracle come to pass. But God's calling you to believe and to release. Believe and to release. I spoke to someone who's been crippled almost their entire life and their entire Christian adulthood. They have prayed for a miracle and they're long into their years and they're still praying for a miracle, but they have just as much faith as they had if it's not going to be performed. That's what it means to have faith. My faith is not in the miracle. My faith is in the one who has the power to perform miracles. You may be crippled physically, mentally, emotionally. But sometimes it's the crippling that causes us to depend more on Jesus. Sometimes the miracle is not what's going to happen and what we think is going to happen, but it's happening on the inside. I have a softer heart. Let me tell you, the pain and loss and grief I've experienced in the last 5 years, man, I would not be who I am without all